My best friend and I awakened a two-choice system. 1. 100 million RMB. 2. An unlimited use 99.9% discount coupon. My best friend looked like she had my best interests at heart. Baby, didn't you want to experience the feeling of sudden wealth? I'll let you have the 100 million. As soon as my money arrived, she immediately turned on me. With someone like you, you still think you're smarter than me every day. Everything I buy is 100 times cheaper. If I buy gold bars and resell them, I'll be richer than you in no time. You're not qualified to be my best friend. But when she used her savings to buy a pile of gold bars, she ended up living even more frugally than before. Meanwhile, with my 100 million in savings earning interest, I live a fulfilling and enjoyable life. My best friend was driven mad with jealousy and, in the middle of the night, set my house on fire with her boyfriend, taking us all down together. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment of the choice. This time, my best friend instantly chose option 1. You didn't know, did you? Option 2 has a hidden rule: items purchased with coupons cannot be resold. Did these two idiots never think about mortgaging and renting it out? Luna and I simultaneously heard a strange electronic system sound. Congratulations to both of you for simultaneously activating the choose one of two system. 1. 100 million RMB. 2. A permanently valid 99.9% discount coupon. Host Helen has randomly obtained priority selection rights. Before I could even speak, Luna excitedly exclaimed, as if she had completely forgotten that Kevin was still right there. Baby, we're about to hit the jackpot. Hurry up and choose option 1. Didn't you want to get rich overnight? Kevin looked utterly confused. What are you two talking about? Get rich overnight? I quickly covered Luna's mouth. Nothing. We're just playing a little game on social media. After finally managing to send Kevin away, I gave Luna a stern warning. Don't tell anyone else about the system besides the two of us. Luna agreed with a flicker in her eyes. Under Luna's expectant gaze, I still chose 100 million. There was no other way. I had been accommodating this silly best friend of mine for over a decade, and it had become a habit. With a deposit of 100 million, I could earn at least 2 million in interest per year. Even if Luna messes up her own life, I can still support her. On the very day the money arrived, I wasted no time depositing the 100 million in the bank, and I hid the interest-earning bank card so well that no one could find it. Kevin suddenly became anxious, completely losing his usual gentleness. Why didn't you discuss it with me before depositing the money? What are you talking about? How could I have any money? Luna already told me everything. My heart sank, and my tone turned unpleasant. Why should I discuss my money with you? If you need money, can't you just borrow it from me? Kevin has blocked me, a cunning poor man. I called Luna to demand an explanation, but as soon as I answered, suspiciously ambiguous sounds came from the other end. What are you doing? Luna probably felt she had nothing left to lose. Mixing a hint of pride with her guilt, Helen, you pride yourself on being clever. Yet you didn't notice for so long. Kevin always thought you were too scheming, and that you and I had been together long ago. Let me tell you, I can buy anything for 100 times cheaper. If I buy gold bars and flip them, I'll be richer than you in no time. In the future, when Kevin and I live a billionaire's life, don't you dare cry and beg him to get back together. I hung up the phone, and my world collapsed. In just one day, both my boyfriend and my best friend turned rotten. Fortunately, I have a warm 100 million in my hands. Luna, as she said, bought a house full of gold bars at 99.9 times the price, spending the only 100,000 or so in savings she had, but she never cashed them out. I live off nearly 100,000 in monthly interest, quit my job, and travel everywhere. Life goes on, no matter how you live it. I also blocked Luna and stopped paying attention to her updates. I send money to my family regularly and keep them updated on my situation. Not long after, I started receiving calls for help from Luna. Helen, I know I was wrong. Could you lend me 1 million to help me out? You were always the best to me. I read the message but didn't reply. I absolutely will not fall for the same person twice. Until one night, she and Kevin broke into my house, both of them in a frenzied state, stabbing me more than 10 times. Helen, you've been living quite comfortably lately. You have so much money and didn't even think to share it with me. Aren't you supposed to be my best friend? Why do you get to live better than me? I always have worse luck than you every single time. Just die. Kevin even went as far as to set the house on fire. Bitch, if only you had given me that 100 million earlier, would I have needed to go through all that trouble? The last image before my death was being burned alive in the house with them. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the moment of the choice. The system's voice rang out once more. host Luna randomly obtains priority selection rights, the same 2 choices, but this time it's Luna who gets to choose first. She instantly chose 100 million renminbi, grinning ferociously. Helen, to be honest, I've been looking down on you for a long time. This 100 million should be mine. Your boyfriend should have been mine too. You didn't know, did you? Option 2 has a hidden rule. Items purchased with coupons cannot be resold, this time. The 1 billion is mine, you can go on living your poor life. I fell into thought and remained silent, so that's why she couldn't resell those gold bars in her previous life. They ended up stuck in her hands, but they don't seem to realize that in our previous life, a financial crisis broke out after we died, and 100 million would have turned into worthless paper. In our previous life, if they had just held on for 1 more week, they could have crushed me under their feet. And who says a 99.9% discount is useless? A 99.9% discount is incredibly useful. Unlike these 2 short-sighted fools, I've already come up with dozens of ways to cash in. Luna began frequently flaunting her wealth on social media. Today's happiness comes from the sense of security brought by my bank balance. The accompanying picture showed a long string of zeros in her account balance. Some say money can't buy love. That must be because there isn't enough money. The picture shows her and Kevin holding hands, with the background being a high-end restaurant. Planning the future with my husband. Let's first fill up our little family's savings pot. This time, it's a business card from a certain bank's financial manager and a blurry deposit receipt. It seems she has followed my previous life's approach, depositing 100 million in the bank to enjoy a monthly interest of just over 100,000. It's just that she's more flamboyant than I am, practically wanting the whole world to know she's come into a windfall. Our mutual friends quickly showered her with praise in the comments. Luna, did you hit the jackpot? Take me along for the ride. I always thought Luna looked more blessed than some people, and I was right. Kevin is so lucky to have found our Luna, such a capable and beautiful girlfriend. Some people must be grinding their teeth with envy right now. It goes without saying who these some people refer to. I quietly lay low in their friends list, pretending to be dead. The phone rang. It was my mom calling. Helen, have you seen Luna's social media? She won the lottery. Oh my god, 100 million yuan. Now look at you, sending home just a few thousand yuan every month. What good is that? Your dad and I have no face to show when we go out. Look how successful Luna is now. This time around, I learned my lesson and didn't reveal a single detail about my current situation to them. They only knew from Luna that she had come into a sudden windfall, but the specific reason was unclear. I held the phone, my tone calm. She's so rich. Has she given you tens of millions in filial piety? Just letting you see it on social media. The other end of the line fell silent, and my mother was furious. What kind of talk is that? Luna's money is her own. What kind of sour grapes mentality is this? Oh, her monthly interest is only about 100,000 or so. She probably wouldn't really give you much anyway. If you could get her to fork over a few million for you to buy a bigger house, then I'd truly admire you. My mother was furious and embarrassed. You unfilial daughter, I really regret giving birth to you. I didn't give them another chance to perform, and directly hung up the phone, ignoring the external disturbances. I began to focus on making money. I used a 99.9% discount coupon to buy a small item online. After the payment was successful, the actual amount displayed was the original price of the product, but only I knew that I had only spent 1% of the original price. This discovery made me feel relieved. The system's payment records are flawless. A plan quickly took shape. I registered 2 alternate accounts on a niche live streaming platform and meticulously orchestrated a battle between my left and right hands. Account A sent virtual gifts to Account B, and after receiving the gifts and splitting the proceeds with the platform, Account B successfully withdrew the funds. After a few rounds of operations, 100,000 in cash was easily obtained. With the initial funds in place, the real main event began. I set my sights on a 3 million yuan apartment, signed the contract, went through the procedures, and used a 99.9% discount when paying, actually paying 30,000 yuan. Once the property deed was in hand, I immediately mortgaged it to the bank and easily secured a loan of over 2 million yuan, just like knocking over the first domino. Without a moment's delay, I used this money along with coupons to continue shopping, mortgaging, and cashing out. Within a week, the cash flow I controlled quickly exceeded 10 million. And I had accumulated dozens of properties under my management. All the vacant ready-to-move-in properties were rented out, providing a stable source of income. I've kept the best few houses for myself. That day, an unfamiliar number called in. It was Luna's voice. unable to conceal her pride. Helen, why did you block me? Is it because you're so jealous seeing how well I'm doing? Don't be like that. We're sisters after all, seeing that you're not doing well these days. How about I give you a chance to make some money, come work as a nanny for my family, room and board included. She really wants me to envy her, I replied without any emotion in my tone. Sure, a monthly salary of 100,000, paid in cash daily. Luna blurted out, 100,000, why don't you just rob me? My monthly interest alone is only 100,000. As soon as the words left her mouth, she seemed to realize she had let something slip. There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line. And then the call was abruptly hung up. Listening to the busy tone, I smiled. Instead of showing off her wealth, she ended up exposing her true situation. She must be absolutely furious now. The moment of my previous life's death draws ever closer. Meanwhile, the cash flow in my hands has snowballed into tens of millions. I plan to purchase luxury goods at low prices for rental purposes. Inside a top-tier luxury brand store, I unexpectedly encountered Luna and Kevin. When Luna saw me, her eyes lit up with the excitement of a hunter spotting its prey. She immediately tightened her grip on Kevin's arm, her voice dripping with sweetness. Oh, Helen, you're in a place like this too. Did you walk into the wrong door? She deliberately looked me up and down in my plain t-shirt and jeans, then raised her voice to the nearby shop assistant. Miss, you should keep a close eye on things. Some people might just come in to look around and can't actually afford anything. Be careful not to let them accidentally break something. They wouldn't be able to pay for it. Upon hearing this, the sales assistant looked me up and down, her eyes immediately filled with contempt. Miss, you need to make a purchase if you want to stay here for a long time. If you're not buying anything, please don't disturb the other customers. Luna glanced at me smugly, then shook Kevin's arm. Honey, I really like that new bag. It's only a little over 200,000, buy it for me. A flicker of unease crossed Kevin's face as he whispered softly, Luna, didn't we just buy one last month? The interest for this month hasn't even come in yet. I don't care, you promised me last time. Luna refused to give up. After a few tugs, Kevin reluctantly nodded and said to the clerk, let her take a look at the basic model. I watched coldly, seeing everything clearly in my heart. It seems Luna has handed her card over to Kevin for safekeeping. Likely having her cash flow controlled by his tactics. In his previous life, he coveted my money, and in this life, he does the same to Luna. But Luna, in order to prove that she is more reasonable than I am, probably agreed to Kevin without any hesitation. There is no sincerity to speak of between that despicable couple. The shop assistant who had shooed me away, seeing that Kevin was actually going to make a purchase, became even more convinced that I was just a poor person there to enjoy the air conditioning, and his tone grew even more impolite. Miss, please leave immediately, or I'll call security. She even reached out as if to push me. I sidestepped to avoid her, ignored her, and looked at another saleswoman standing quietly nearby, gesturing for her to come over. As she approached, I showed her the 8-digit cash balance displayed on my mobile banking app. The entire store fell silent. Bring out all the limited editions in your store for allocation, and match them according to the highest standard. The sales assistant's eyes instantly lit up, her attitude becoming so respectful it was almost reverent. Of course, esteemed guest, please have a seat in the VIP room. I pointed at the clerk who had just shoved me and said to the approaching store manager, I don't want her handling any of my orders. The previously arrogant clerk turned pale. Luna froze, then shrieked, impossible, how could you possibly have that much money? You clearly can't resell anything you buy. Ignoring her hysterical outburst, I leisurely selected my items in the VIP room, signed the bill, and made the payment. When I finally calculated the total price, it was over 500,000, but I actually paid just over 5,000. What a great deal. As I walked out of the VIP room carrying my bag, I heard the salesperson venting at Luna, it's all your fault. You made me lose such a big client. If you don't have money, why pretend to be a bully with assets? How unlucky. Luna's face turned pale and then flushed with anger, her eyes almost spitting fire as she looked at me. Kevin, on the other hand, looked at me with a complicated expression. I walked straight past them without even sparing a glance. The incident at the luxury store deeply affected Luna. She couldn't understand why I had suddenly become wealthy, thinking I had found a sugar daddy. Soon, rumors began to spread throughout the company. Have you heard? Helen is being kept by someone, splurging at XX store the other day. No wonder she still dresses so plainly lately. Who is she trying to fool? The money must be dirty, right? Luna is the one with real talent. winning the prize fair and square, all on her own. The HR manager spoke with me, her tone gentle. Helen, the company still values your abilities very much, but recently, the personal rumors about you have had a rather negative impact on the company's image. I smiled and signed the resignation agreement without hesitation. This job was almost done anyway. Just as I stepped out of the company gate, my dad's phone call bombarded me, his voice seething with rage. Helen, are you having an affair with someone outside? Luna told us everything. Your mother and I are utterly humiliated by you. We don't have a daughter like you. Come back immediately and sever all ties. My mom was crying and shouting in the background. I've always said she's no good, not even worth one of Luna's fingers. Luna is so sensible, always making us happy. What do you do besides giving a little money? Now you don't even care about your own face. My parents have always been like this. Luna is sweet-tongued and knows how to please, and she has been their favorite since childhood, as if she were their own flesh and blood. And even though I gave them a third of my 100 million in my previous life, they still took it for granted. Even knowing that Luna and I had a falling out, he still secretly subsidized her behind my back, revealing my financial situation to her. This led to Luna, who had been struggling in her previous life, to become increasingly jealous of me, until eventually, her malice grew into boldness. My heart was calm, and I even felt a bit like laughing. Fine, then let's not contact each other anymore. I'll just save on living expenses. You heartless, ungrateful thing. I hung up the phone directly. A few minutes later, Luna's call came immediately, her voice brimming with barely contained triumph. Helen, how does it feel? I've taken everything from you, step by step, your boyfriend, your job, your family. They're all mine now. You better step up your game. What you took were things I didn't really care about. Luna felt like she had punched a cotton ball. And she screamed in frustration. Keep pretending to be relaxed, you'll be crying later. Only one day remained before the financial crisis arrived. Currency may depreciate, but survival supplies are always hard currency. My massive cash flow now has a clear destination. I secretly leased dozens of large warehouses across the country and began stockpiling goods frantically. Canned food, bottled purified water, vacuum-packed grains, oils, rice, and flour. Various commonly used prescription and over-the-counter medications, basic medical equipment, gasoline and diesel, high-power generators, high-efficiency solar panels, and even various types of long-lasting seeds and simple agricultural tools. Because of the coupon, the actual cost incurred was so low it could be ignored. A massive amount of survival resources quietly flowed into my warehouse, guarded by a security system I absolutely trusted. After completing all this, I began the final step. I cancelled my previous high-end apartment and moved into an old, dilapidated place on the edge of the city. Then, wearing old clothes, I would go in and out of the market haggling over prices, and even started complaining about being poor online. I registered a secondary account and subtly hinted in my old classmates' group chat that I had been abandoned by my sugar daddy, then used my main account to borrow money everywhere. As expected, they were all busy distancing themselves from me. Helen, it's not that I don't want to lend you money, I'm just a bit tight on cash myself lately. Lend it to you. What will you use to repay it? Don't drag us down. Don't contact me anymore from now on. Let's just pretend we never knew each other. Everyone was eager to distance themselves from me, even posting joint statements in various group chats, declaring that from now on, whether I, Helen, live or die, it has nothing to do with them. Today marks the end. And the memory node from my past life has arrived. Monday morning, news headlines were flooded with the same type of message. A super financial crisis swept across the globe. Almost simultaneously, major banks issued emergency announcements, restricting large cash withdrawals, and the most fatal blow was that all interest payments on deposits were temporarily frozen. Not only can Luna not withdraw the 1 billion, but she also can't receive a single cent in interest. She frantically sent a message. Quick, find Helen, she can buy anything at a 99.9% discount. In her panic, she tried to drag me down with her. Even a fool knows that having strong purchasing power at this moment is the only way to safely navigate through this crisis. 1 minute later, I received countless friend requests. The first one who couldn't hold back was indeed Kevin. He called from a new number, his voice deliberately practiced to sound gentle and remorseful. Helen, I finally got in touch with you. I know I was wrong before, terribly wrong. I leaned back on the leather sofa, watching the orderly security patrols in the warehouse area on the monitor, and pressed the record button. Oh, what did I do wrong? His tone grew even more affectionate, even tinged with a sob. I was momentarily confused by Luna. In the days I've been away from you, I've realized how much I love you, and that my heart has always been with you, Helen. I've finally come to realize that Luna is not even worthy of a single one of your fingers. I've taken her bank card, all her principal and interest are in there. I just beg you to take me in. Can we start over? I chuckled softly. Give me the card. Aren't you afraid Luna will fight you to the death? He swore with conviction. I'm not afraid of her. As long as you agree, I'll come to you with the money right away. I'll listen to you in everything from now on. All right, then come over now. Kevin was overjoyed, his voice even sounding light and cheerful. Really, Helen, you're so wonderful. Where are you? I'll be right there. Don't rush. I interrupted him. Repeat what you just said clearly into the phone. Tell me how you stole Luna's card, how you think she doesn't compare to me, and how you begged me to take you in. The other end of the phone instantly fell silent, leaving only heavy breathing. I added slowly, can't get the words out, or are you planning to freeload off Luna while trying to take advantage of me, playing both sides at once? Helen, are you messing with me? He finally tore off his mask of gentleness, furious and flustered. Without further ado, I hung up the phone and sent the clear recording I had just made to Luna. Soon, Kevin called back in a rage, starting with an accusation. Helen, what do you mean by this? Why did you send the recording to Luna? Are you determined to ruin our relationship? Wasn't it you who said she wasn't even worth one of my fingers? I helped you see your true feelings. You should thank me. What? Trying to play both sides didn't work out. Kevin hit where it hurt, his voice twisted. You'll regret this, Helen. Just you wait. I frowned, sensing that his threat wasn't just empty words. Sure enough, in less than half an hour, my social media feeds and various group chats exploded. Kevin posted a meticulously assembled long image. At the top of the image is the property certificate information for my high-end apartment, located in a prime location with strict security. It also secretly captured the interiors of dozens of my warehouses, densely packed with canned goods, grains, oils, medicines, generators, and more, in astonishing quantities. At the bottom, there is a line of enlarged, bold, blood-red text. Helen has hoarded a massive amount of resources and refuses to help those in need. The accompanying text was even more malicious. Everyone, look, Helen knew the crisis was coming long ago and secretly stockpiled enough supplies to last several lifetimes, not to mention countless properties, yet she just stood by and watched us starve, utterly cold-blooded and selfish. The moment it was posted, my social media feed exploded. Those who had previously blocked me and distanced themselves from me swarmed in like sharks drawn to the scent of blood. Helen, how could you hide so much stuff? Hand over the supplies now. They belong to everyone. You selfish wretch, living in luxury while watching us die. Call the police. We must have her arrested. Where's the address? Let's go get it back. Foul language fills the screen, rendering all previous statements of severing ties a joke, leaving behind nothing but naked jealousy and demands. Looking at that image, a chill ran through my heart. How could Kevin know so clearly, even the internal warehouse inventory? Has he been monitoring me all along? Before I had a chance to thoroughly investigate the mole, another unfamiliar number called in. The moment the call connected, Luna's piercing, almost screeching voice nearly pierced my eardrums. Helen, you bitch. How do you have so much money, so many houses and warehouses? Didn't you choose the 99.9 discount coupon? That worthless thing isn't supposed to be resaleable, is it? Tell me, what tricks did you pull? Her voice was filled with utter collapse and disbelief. Clearly, the double blow of Kevin's betrayal and the freezing of her assets had driven her completely mad. I walked to the window and looked out at the slightly desolate streets, made so by the scarcity of resources. Didn't you know? The system only stipulates that items bought with coupons cannot be resold, but it doesn't say they can't be sublet. There was a deathly silence on the other end of the phone. A few seconds later, Luna's voice trembled, carrying a chilling sense of realization. You came back too. It seems you're not too foolish. By the way, let me tell you, in the previous life, if you had just held on for one more week, the financial crisis would have hit. You would have had 100 times the purchasing power, just like I do now. Even without hoarding supplies, you could have lived comfortably, while I would have gone bankrupt and been trampled under your feet. What a pity. Ah! Luna let out a frantic scream on the other end of the phone. Helen, I'm going to kill you. You did this on purpose. In this lifetime, I will never let you off. I want you dead. I listened to her hysterical roar, waiting for her voice to weaken slightly before leisurely asking, sure, but do you know where I live now? Luna was at a loss for words. She clearly didn't know that the apartment I was exposed to was just a smokescreen. If you can't even find out where I am, save your tough talk, better spend your energy figuring out how to survive. I hung up and blocked the number again, just as the farce between Luna and Kevin came to an end. An even more disgusting drama began to unfold. My cheap parents, unable to reach me, actually started a live stream on a short video platform. In front of the camera, the two of them were wearing clothes that looked like they had been dug out from some old pile, crying their eyes out with snot and tears streaming down their faces. My mother was beating her chest in despair. Netizens, please judge for yourselves. My daughter has hoarded supplies piled up like a mountain. Dozens of warehouses can't even hold it all. But then she turned around and cut ties with us, said she doesn't recognize us as her parents anymore. My father, tears streaming down his face, pointed at the camera as if pointing at me. We may be old and useless, but she can't be so heartless, watching her own parents starve to death and doing nothing. We raised her for over 20 years, and this is what we get in return. Their acting was clumsy, but the key words, massive supplies, leaving others to die, and unfilial to parents, instantly ignited the anxious and panicked emotions of netizens in the midst of the crisis. #selfish woman Jiang Ho hoard supplies, refuses to support parents. Quickly became a trending topic. Public opinion across the internet overwhelmingly cursed me. Does someone like this even deserve to live? Someone should investigate the source of her supplies. It's definitely not clean. Find out who she is. Seize her supplies and distribute them to those in need. I watched this farce with a cold gaze. I knew they were having a hard time. They were sweet-talked by Luna into selling their homes in a moment of impulsiveness. Before the cash in their hands had even warmed up, they were hit by the financial crisis. That little money quickly became worthless, and they could barely afford to eat. At this point, they realized that I, their daughter, was more useful and wanted to pretend nothing had happened, continuing to suck my blood. Fine, since everything has been exposed, hiding it further would only attract more jealous people like Luna. I logged into a long-unused social media account, ignoring the overwhelming flood of insults, and posted 2 updates. The first one was a screenshot of all the chat records where relatives and friends drew clear boundaries with me, vowing never to interact again. Second, there is a notarized donation statement. In addition to the one warehouse of supplies I kept for myself, I have made all the survival supplies from the remaining warehouses public and donated them free of charge to official institutions, to be allocated and distributed by them to those who are truly in need. At the end of the statement, I added one and only condition. All recipients of the donated supplies must not trade or transfer the supplies to the group of people mentioned above, otherwise I reserve the right to reclaim all the supplies. As soon as these 2 posts went live, public opinion immediately exploded and shifted direction. Those who had previously criticized me were left dumbfounded. Those chat records vividly demonstrated the fickleness of human nature and how everyone kicks a man when he's down. And my act of generously donating nearly all the supplies completely shattered the accusations of selfishness and cold-bloodedness. Oh my God. So many people cut ties with her before. If it were me, I'd be heartbroken too. Everyone runs away when trouble hits, but when there's money and supplies, they all come crawling back. Her parents aren't good people either. They used to bully their own daughter along with that Luna, and now that they're broke, they come back to emotionally blackmail her. Luna and Kevin are that despicable couple, right? Serves them right. How dare they still have the nerve to ask for supplies? Helen did an amazing job. This is what a truly clear-headed female lead looks like. I'm loving it. Public opinion instantly reversed. Almost overnight, I was praised as a magnanimous savior, while Luna and my parents were all labeled as ungrateful villains. My parents clearly didn't expect me to be so resolute, nor did they anticipate the backlash from public opinion to be so severe. Unable to bear the widespread criticism online, they finally began to blame Luna, the instigator, for the situation. I heard they went to make a scene with Luna, demanding to know why she had deceived them, causing them to lose their daughter and a stable life. Cornered and desperate, Luna tore off her disguise and roared at them, "If it weren't for the sake of provoking Helen and making her suffer, who the hell would bother dealing with you 2 old fools? Did you really think I cared about being your daughter?" Someone recorded this and posted it online, further exposing their ugly true colors. My parents were filled with regret and tried to find me again at the old, run-down place I used to live in, but they came up empty-handed. I had long since moved away from there and now lived in a luxurious penthouse apartment in the city center. Over the next few months, I lived quite comfortably in this resource-scarce post-apocalyptic world. With the incredible 99.9% discount coupon, along with substantial cash flow and real estate assets. I not only had an abundance of resources for myself but also became a unique strategic resource hub. Many medium and large enterprises struggling to survive in the crisis have come knocking on my door. They were unable to conduct cross-border procurement normally, and I became their only lifeline. I helped them procure urgently needed resources from abroad at almost zero cost. For a time, I became the object of protection sought after by various forces. My security has been elevated to the highest level. No one can touch me, and no one dares to touch me. I live a life akin to that of a queen in the apocalypse. A few months later, Luna and Kevin finally found me. Through certain channels, they managed to locate the outskirts of one of my relatively low-key villas. When I saw them through the surveillance, I almost didn't recognize them. Both were dressed in rags, with sallow and emaciated faces, like two beggars who had crawled out of hell. Luna clung to the cold iron gate, screaming hysterically toward the inside. "Helen, come out, I know you're in there, share the supplies with me, I'm your best friend, you can't just stand by and watch me die." Kevin then fell to his knees with a thud, kowtowing toward the camera, his voice hoarse. "Helen, I was wrong, it was all Luna who seduced me. I've always loved you in my heart, let me come back to you, I'll do anything for you." I sat in the warm room, watching their performance coldly through the high-definition screen. Their lines were eerily similar to those from my past life. Just before I died, I keenly noticed that within Luna's wide, worn-out sleeves, there seemed to be a glint of reflective metal. Kevin knelt in an awkward posture, his hand instinctively pressing against his lower back. They were hiding weapons on their persons. They hadn't come to beg for mercy. They were here to replicate the outcome of their previous life, kill me, and then hope the system gives them another chance to restart, to trample me underfoot. A cold smile curled at the corner of my mouth. "Not this time." I ordered the bodyguards to maintain strict surveillance, and then I used the external broadcast system. My voice carried a hint of hesitation, as if I had truly been softened by them. "You really know you were wrong?" Hearing my response, a surge of wild joy erupted in their eyes. "I really know now, Helen, come out quickly," Luna rushed to answer, her voice tinged with an uncontrollable venom. I slowly stepped out, appearing in their line of sight but maintaining a safe distance. Seeing my radiant appearance, Luna's jealousy nearly overflowed, and she could no longer keep up the pretense. She pulled a sharpened screwdriver from her sleeve and charged toward me. "Helen, why am I any worse than you? Since childhood, everyone has liked you. I could only trail behind you like a shadow. In what way am I inferior to you? The system gave us a chance to start over, so why can't I still beat you?" Then she was dodged by me and kicked to the ground. With my ample stamina, it was easy to overpower her. I looked at her contorted face and spoke calmly. "What a pity, if you had honestly been my best friend and not played those little tricks. I truly intended to take care of you for a lifetime in my previous life." These words struck Luna right where it hurt the most. She completely broke down, screaming hysterically, "Stop with the hypocrisy. Since heaven has given me a second chance, I'm going to seize it. As long as I kill you, everything can start over. Next time, I will be the one to win." Kevin, while my attention was focused on Luna, Kevin also pulled out a rusty machete and circled around to my back. I then gestured toward a spot not far away. Instantly, several heavily armed bodyguards rushed out from hidden positions around the villa. With lightning speed, they pinned the two to the ground and seized the weapons from their hands. The two were roughly subdued, their faces pressed against the cold ground, their eyes filled with shock and disbelief. I slowly descended from the terrace, looking down at them through the gate like two desperate worms. Is it possible that heaven gave me a second chance just so I could completely get rid of you two pieces of trash? Luna and Kevin were quickly convicted of assaulting a key contributor to social resources, with weapons, with solid evidence. They had no room for defense and were sent to prison. All their assets were also confiscated, and shortly after they were imprisoned. With efforts from all sides, signs of easing began to emerge in the financial crisis. The banking system gradually returned to normal, restrictions on large deposits and withdrawals were lifted, and the value of currency steadily recovered. By the time Luna and Kevin endured their long prison sentences and emerged disheveled and worn, the world had long since changed. They had nothing left, no money, no house, and the friends and relatives who once flattered and surrounded them had long since scattered like birds and beasts. They could only hide in a dirty, dilapidated rented room, barely making ends meet by doing odd jobs, occasionally catching a few words about me from old newspapers or the idle chatter of passers-by. In the news, I was portrayed as a legendary woman who started from scratch, relying on keen insight and unique opportunities to successfully cross class barriers and build a vast business empire. They could only watch as I lived a glamorous life in the clouds, while they struggled at the bottom of society, doing the hardest work for the lowest wages. Repaying the debts accumulated from their past and present lives, Luna and Kevin, a couple bound solely by resentment and self-interest, continued to torment each other in their impoverished and humble lives after being released from prison. Coincidentally, the shantytown they rented turned out to be next door to my equally down-and-out parents. Thus, these two pure enemies continued their chaotic lives at the very bottom of society, just like in the previous life. If they had been able to endure for just one more week at that time, they would have waited for the economic recovery and could have turned their fortunes around with that $1 billion in savings and the gold bars that were about to appreciate. Unfortunately, this time, they still didn't seize the opportunity. For the rest of their lives, they will suffer in agony, gazing up at my brilliance and chewing on their own regrets. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My family runs a braised food stall, and our secret recipe for braised goods is famous far and wide. My best friend lost her job and started a street-side hot pot stall with her boyfriend. They've been coming to get supplies from us every day since they opened. At the end of the year when we settled accounts, her boyfriend brought over cash vouchers for the hot pot restaurant. We're giving you $200,000 in coupons for a $120,000 purchase. Sisterly, you're making a huge profit. My heart sank, and I immediately cut off the supply. The next day, my best friend bought 2 large bags of braised food in one go, and someone promptly reported me for operating without a license. This braised food smells so good. If it doesn't have banned substances, I don't believe it. After being fined 10,000 yuan, I simply packed up my stall and went home to lie flat. As it turned out, less than a month later, she was the one who got anxious. When John handed me the bag, I thought it was all cash, and I was planning to deposit it first thing tomorrow morning. Hearing the words, gift voucher, left me completely stunned. No, John, what do you mean by that? John wasn't in a hurry at all, grinning as he said, sisterly, for the 120,000 yuan in goods, we'll give you 200,000 yuan worth of hot pot vouchers. You're making a killing, sis. My mind went buzz, and I opened the bag. Inside were all vouchers for Julia Street Stall Hot Pot. I realized he wasn't joking at all. I turned to my best friend and asked, Julia, what's going on with you two? It's not April Fool's Day. Are you playing a prank? Julia lowered her head. Of course not. This is the payment. Count it yourself. I was furious and threw the bag at John. Are you fucking messing with me? I wanted cash. These vouchers have high thresholds and short validity periods. Who am I supposed to use them with? Besides, 200,000 yuan worth of hot pot vouchers. I'd be smoking from eating so much and still not finish them. John, neither angry nor annoyed, reached out and gave Julia a push. She looked up with a righteous expression. Luna, you have to understand me too. Your braised food doesn't cost as much as ours, and we're about to buy a house and get married. We're really stretched thin. John spat out his words in a flurry. If you don't want it, that's fine too. But we really can't come up with that much cash right now. My heart turned completely cold. From now on, don't come to me for braised food. You can go to whoever you want, but you must pay me in cash. After a long back and forth, they finally only took out 20,000 yuan, insisting on using that pile of coupons to cover the rest. Later, they simply ran off in a flash, holding the money and a pile of worthless paper. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. People really can change, huh? Julia and I grew up together. It's no exaggeration to say we've been playing together since we were in split pants. I used to be a programmer, but after years of grinding away and ending up with a bunch of minor health issues, I simply decided to return to my hometown and set up a braised food stall. At that time, it happened to be a new trend of using braised dishes as hot pot ingredients. Many hot pot restaurants came to me for collaboration, but I turned them all down, citing insufficient production capacity. It wasn't really a matter of capacity. The main reason was that I returned to my hometown to rest and recuperate, and running a braised food stall was just something to keep me occupied. If I were to put in more effort and energy, it would be more trouble than it's worth. Julia lost her job last year, and together with her boyfriend John, they pooled their money to set up a street-side hot pot stall on another street. On the opening day, she pleaded with me, Luna, business is tough these days. Could you let me take your braised dishes on credit first? My heart softened. I couldn't bear to see her pitiful look. All right, take what you need. and we'll settle the bill together at the end of the year." From then on, she came to pick up goods every day, and the quantity kept increasing: chicken feet, goose webs, meat sausages, duck heads, pork intestines, trotters. To supply her, I had to prepare an extra large bucket of braised food every day. My family has been in the braised food business since my great-grandfather's generation. It's not that I'm boasting, our family recipe has its secrets, making the braised dishes glossy, vibrant, and incredibly fragrant. I set up my stall at 6 sharp, and by 8 at the latest, everything is completely sold out. So ever since Julia and the others launched their braised hot pot set, business has been booming. Sometimes when I finish early, I go over to help them with odd jobs. When things get busy, I handle everything from washing and preparing vegetables to clearing tables. In fact, just 2 months ago, I noticed something off about the braised flavor base they introduced. I spent about a week researching at home and managed to fix the slight bitterness in the base. Back then, she hugged me, crying tears of joy. "Luna, I'll never call you a little foodie again. You've really saved the day for me." John chimed in from the side. "That's right, sisterly, we can never repay you for what you've done for us, but I didn't want their gratitude. Isn't that what friends are for, helping each other out?" But I really didn't expect that the two of them would pull this trick on me. After returning home, the more I thought about it, the angrier I became, and I didn't rest well all night. I called my mom, and she was still puzzled. Impossible, the Sons are both honest people. How could Julia do something like this? We talked for half an hour, and finally my mom said, "This is going too far. If it really comes to it, we can call the police and file a lawsuit. But our two families have been close for so many years. Let me ask old Son about it later." I thought that was the end of it. Unexpectedly, at 6 o'clock the next day, just as I had finished setting out the dishes, Julia arrived. She handed me a cup of milk tea and said with an apologetic smile, "Luna, John didn't handle things properly yesterday. Please don't be angry. I'll pay you back the remaining money later. I'll buy some more braised dishes now. The regular customers are waiting," she said, handing over 300 yuan in cash. By this time, there were already customers queuing up behind her. I was also afraid of causing more trouble, so I took the money. "Thank you, Luna. I'll take 100 chicken feet and 50 duck feet. As for the dried tofu, meat sausages, and duck heads, just pack whatever you think is good." "No, I only marinated 60 duck feet last night, so I can only give you 10. "All right then." I didn't say anything more and silently packed them up before handing them to her. After Julia bought a portion, the other dishes sold quickly. It looked like I could pack up my stall before 8 o'clock. At that moment, several law enforcement officers suddenly walked over. A chubby man spoke with an expressionless face. "Are you Lucy? Please show us your health certificate and food license." I was taken aback for a moment and quickly pulled out my health certificate from the cart. As for the food license, I don't have one on my end. It's not that I'm operating without a license, but rather the place where I set up my stall is a food street, managed by a management company. I've always paid the stall fee on time, 400 yuan every month, without missing a single payment. When we first rented the stall, we also paid an additional fee to get the license. It's been so long, and something like this has never happened before. But the chubby guy told me that new regulations were issued last month. The market management company was also replaced, and all previous permits were invalidated. I said, "Even if they're invalidated, they can't just invalidate mine alone, right? There are over 100 stalls on this street. Why single me out?" The young man selling pear syrup next to me also looked puzzled. "What, if all the permits are invalidated, what are we supposed to do?" The chubby guy explained, "You should go register and apply for new ones as soon as possible." Within 24 hours, I immediately understood that someone was deliberately causing trouble. I looked around and finally spotted John in the crowd. I pointed at him sharply. "This person sells hot pot on the next street, so can I report them too?" But as soon as I finished speaking, John proudly displayed his brand new license. "Sisterly, don't you wrong me, I got this new license sorted out ages ago." My vision went dark, and I was so angry I could grind my teeth. They knew about the new regulations all along, but never once reminded me from start to finish. At that moment, a customer buying braised food spoke up for me. "We've been eating Sister Lee's braised dishes for 2 or 3 years. How could there be any problem?" "Exactly, so what if there's no license? There are plenty of street stalls at night. Why don't you go check them out?" The customers spoke up one after another, and the situation began to get a bit chaotic. The chubby man grew anxious. Quiet down, we're just doing our job by the book. Someone reported it, and we're handling it. It's perfectly normal." John pushed his way through the crowd and shouted, "Don't be fools, her braised food smells so good and is so addictive, haven't you ever wondered why? Who knows what she might have added that shouldn't be there?" Trembling with rage, I yelled at him, "John, heaven sees everything. Is this your way of getting back at me just because I asked you to settle your debt? What revenge? Aren't you operating without a license? Who could possibly be wronging you? If you claim your braised food is fine, then dare to show us the recipe." "Show you my ass? Why should I show you my family's secret recipe? Get lost." Just as they were about to start arguing, John's eyes darted around. "By the way, my girlfriend just bought 300 yuan worth of braised food today. Can I ask for compensation?" I was almost stunned by his shamelessness. "I'll compensate your ass. First, pay back the 100,000 yuan you owe me." Finally, I was fined 10,000 yuan, suspended for rectification for 2 days. Looking at the payment record, my heart ached with bitterness. I really don't understand how people can be so wicked. I'm tired, really tired. I remember coming back from the big city just to seek some peace and take care of my health. I worked diligently every day, treating every batch of marinated goods with care. In the end, I have to stop because of human nature. Forget it, I still have some savings left, so I can just take it easy for a while. After the crowd dispersed, I quietly followed behind the chubby guy. Sure enough, I heard him on the phone. "John, it's all settled. If she ever gives you trouble again, just let your uncle know, and I'll take care of it for you." It really was John who did it. By the time I circled back to the snack street, it was already 9:30. After tidying up the cart, I found Julia standing right in front of me. "Luna, I really had no idea John would do something like this. Besides, you're partly to blame too. Cutting off the supplies so suddenly, John was just acting out of anger." I was utterly fed up and directly splashed some leftover braising sauce at her. "Get lost, you crazy couple." After I splashed her, Julia also got angry. "Lucy, are you crazy? Fine, fine, fine. Do you really think I can't live without you? There are so many people making braised dishes, I can get them from anyone." After returning home, I slept soundly. The next day, I sold the cart. My mom is helping my sister take care of her child in S City. I thought that if things really don't work out, I might as well go to S City to find a job and be with my family. But there's always been a knot in my heart. I don't understand how Julia could have become like this. We've been playing together since we were little, sharing the same lollipop. We shared the most secret thoughts of our girlhood. She also has a younger brother at home, and her parents are a bit biased toward boys over girls. When we were kids, she often came to my house to play, and I would always share whatever delicious food or fun toys I had with her. I still remember in the 3rd year of junior high, when I was bullied by a mischievous boy in class, she was the first to rush forward and scold that boy, who was even taller than her. That summer after graduating from high school, we lay on the rooftop watching the stars, dreaming about the future. She said she would earn a lot of money in the future, leave this small town, and even buy me a big house, so we could be best friends for life. Back then, her eyes sparkled, as if filled with starlight. Even though I later went to a big city for university and work, while she stayed in our hometown, we never lost touch. Every time I came back, I would bring her gifts. We would also stroll hand in hand through all the familiar little shops. I thought our friendship had been tempered by time, unwaveringly, so when she decided to open a hot pot restaurant after losing her job, I gave her my full support. When they were so busy they couldn't catch their breath, I would go and wash vegetables, serve dishes, like a little worker. They purchased the meat, and I swallowed my pride to ask my father's old friend for a big discount for her. But I never expected that our over 20 years of friendship would be ruined by a mere 100,000 yuan in payment, or by a few words of provocation from John, that it would make her become so detestable, even to the point of using a malicious accusation like adding prohibited substances to destroy me. Can human hearts change so easily, so completely? I decided to go out for a walk to relax and unwind. Without hesitation, I first took a trip to Sichuan for some fun, then made my way to Guangdong for a tour. As if guided by some mysterious force, I began to explore the scents in the alley. It's all about eating, eating, and more eating. One day, while buying oil-braised skewers, a customer asked the owner if they could take the broth base home. The owner said, "No way, this is my family's secret recipe. What if you learn it?" I recall Julia once tentatively asked me for the recipe for the braised dish. I also tactfully refused, as it was passed down from my grandfather and cannot be disclosed. The Lee family braised dish was once a renowned brand in our county, but unfortunately, my father squandered it all. This is not just a recipe, It is the heritage of our ancestors, she said disdainfully at the time. Isn't it just a recipe for braised dishes? They're all over the internet. Later, she tried many times herself, but the taste was far off, and she had to come back to me for the goods, looking rather embarrassed. It's just that they never gave up. John hinted several times, both openly and subtly, that he wanted to buy the recipe. Julia also suggested coming to my house to help me make braised dishes. I turned them all down. Suddenly, it dawned on me, perhaps they had long held a grudge against me. The days of lying flat were incredibly comfortable. During this time, I explored quite a few braised dishes, and after returning home, I started brainstorming new products. Not long after, Julia anxiously rushed to my doorstep. Luna, why haven't you set up your stall for so many days? You're not answering your phone either. Where have you been? My pent-up anger flared up instantly, and I cursed quite harshly. She screamed, "It's just a little argument. Are you planning to cut ties with me? Do you really think our business can't survive without you?" After saying that, she stormed off angrily, but not even a few days later, she came to my house looking for me again, humbly begging me to supply the goods. I said, "First, pay me the 100,000 yuan you owe me, then we can talk about supplying the goods." She twisted her fingers nervously. "I don't have that much on hand. The money is all with John. At most, I can only give you 2,000 right now." Huh? I almost laughed in disbelief. Then there's nothing to discuss. After being rejected, the pleading look on her face faded away. "Lucy, you keep saying you treat me like a best friend. So what do you mean by holding my lifeline in your hands? You're a programmer. Sooner or later you'll have to go back to work. You can't sell braised food for the rest of your life. Why do you have to cling to this recipe? Fine, I won't take your recipe, but now I can't even buy your braised food. What exactly are you trying to do?" She gasped for breath, her eyes darting frantically across my face. "Yes, we owe you money. And it was John who reported you. We were wrong, but I'm struggling too. The hot pot restaurant is doing worse every day. Our regular customers used to come for the braised soup base, and now that you've cut off the supply, they've all left. I've tried other braised foods, but they're just not the same." She took a step closer, almost pleading. "Luna, how about I beg you, will you sell me the recipe? Besides the 100,000 yuan for the goods, I'll add another 50,000. Take the money, go to S City to find your mom and sister, and get a proper job. Wouldn't that be better? What's the point of sticking with this shabby stall, braving the wind and rain?" I looked at her, and the cold place in my heart was extinguished, with not even the last spark remaining. To this day, she still believes that I am holding her by the throat, threatening her. She thinks that by guarding the family heirloom, I am blocking her path. She even believes that her offer to buy the recipe is a blessing and a win-win solution for me. Is she bad? It seems not that bad. After all, the kindness she once showed me was genuine. She is just extremely selfish, believing that our friendship and my principles should always give way to her. I spoke calmly, my voice now only filled with weariness and detachment. "Julia, listen carefully. First, not a single cent of that 100,000 in payment can be missing. It must be given in cash. If you don't give it to me, I have my own ways of dealing with you. Second, the formula is not for sale. It wasn't for sale before, it isn't for sale now, and it will never be for sale in the future. Now leave." "Fine, you've got guts. If you show no mercy, don't blame me for being ruthless." Years of affection were completely torn apart. I feel like I'm meeting her for the first time. I've reorganized and set out again. I've returned to the original stall. I've changed to a new car. The body of the vehicle is a clean, bright brown, with the 4 bold characters, "Lee's Braised Delicacies," spray-painted in a striking regular script on the side, accompanied by a cute cartoon chef's head. A retractable sunshade has also been installed on the roof. I even took the extra step to frame my health certificate and food business license, hanging them in the most prominent spot. Learning from past mistakes, this time, I am determined to eliminate all potential risks. In addition, I have introduced 2 new categories: honey braised and green peppercorn spicy braised. I am absolutely confident that they will be a huge hit. However, half an hour passed, and the expected influx of regular customers did not materialize. Only a few new customers bought some to try, while familiar faces hurried past, avoiding eye contact and even taking detours to avoid me. An eerie sense of desolation enveloped my new food cart. Just as I was feeling puzzled, the girl selling rock sugar and snow pear next door set up her stall. When she saw me, she was clearly taken aback for a moment. After hesitating for a while, she finally came over and said, "Sis, "Why are you still coming back to set up your stall?" I found it strange and asked, "What's wrong? I've already gotten all the permits, and I even changed to a new cart." She pursed her lips, took out her phone, and looked at me with sympathy in her eyes. "Maybe you should take a look at this." I took the phone and glanced at it briefly, feeling a sudden darkness before my eyes, exposing the inside story of internet-famous braised delicacies. In the video, my face wasn't directly shown, but it used a blurry long shot of my old food cart and a photo of my health certificate. The mosaic was also cleverly applied. It appeared to obscure the information, but the uncovered parts made it possible to guess the full name. The content is even more infuriating, claiming that the unique and addictive aroma of my braised food is due to the addition of a secret seasoning packet. It insinuates that it may contain prohibited ingredients such as poppy shells. The video also includes edited footage from my previous inspection by law enforcement, emphasizing the phrases "unlicensed operation" and "fines." It alarmingly states, "Such a vendor, after being penalized, not only shows no remorse but quickly changes equipment." Intending to continue deceiving consumers, the food safety issues are deeply concerning. The comments section is even more chaotic. "Damn, I was wondering why it smelled so good. Every time I passed by I couldn't resist stopping. Turns out they added something. Operating without a license and still so arrogant. Good job reporting them. Looks like the last penalty wasn't harsh enough. These unscrupulous businesses should be permanently shut down, unfollowed." I'll never dare to eat that again. My hands trembled slightly from sheer anger. It felt as if all the blood in my body froze instantly, only to burn with fury the very next second. This method of twisting the truth and maliciously slandering others is 100 times more sinister than throwing mud in someone's face. They're not just trying to ruin my stall, they're trying to completely destroy my reputation. I took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing my anger, and handed the phone back to the girls selling rock sugar and pear soup. "Sis, are you okay?" I simply bought a bowl of rock sugar and pear soup from her, eating it as I spoke. After I finished recounting all the bizarre things that had happened during this period, she was even angrier than I was. Good grief, what kind of people are these, repaying kindness with ingratitude? They're worse than dogs. By the time we finished talking, the pear and rock sugar drink was almost gone. I felt much better. I took out my phone and directly dialed a number, speaking calmly. "Hello, is this Lawyer Chen?" "Yes, it's me, Lucy. I need your help." Lawyer Chen was the legal counsel at my previous company, and he had resigned half a year before I did. We had kept in touch ever since. After hearing my statement, he succinctly said, "The chain of evidence is clear. The other party is suspected of commercial defamation and reputation infringement. We can first send a lawyer's letter, apply to the platform to remove the false video, and prepare for a lawsuit. Sue, we must sue, not only the self-media that posted the video, but also John and Julia behind it. Do they want to drive me to death with rumors and gossip? No way." However, just as I was securing the online evidence, Julia's mother came looking for me. She stood in front of my new food cart, holding a bag of fruit, her face unable to hide the embarrassment and exhaustion. "Luna," I quickly took the fruit. "Aunt Lily, what brings you here?" Her voice carried a hint of hoarseness. "Your mother has already told me everything. No matter how you look at it, it's Julia's fault. I blame myself for not raising my daughter properly." Looking at this elder who had watched me grow up, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. "Luna, Auntie, I'm too ashamed to face you. I know all about the terrible things Julia has done." Aunt Sun's voice was very low, filled with suppressed heartache. "Your uncle's son's blood pressure shot up because of her, and he scolded her. But that girl, she's completely stubborn now, completely infatuated with that John." She looked up, her eyes not pleading but filled with a desolate grayness from being deeply hurt. "I didn't come today to plead for her. I came to apologize to you. We're sorry for raising such a person who can't tell right from wrong." I was stunned, not expecting her to say that. Aunt Lily pulled out several stacks of cash from her bag. "We'll return this part of the money to you first. As for the rest, we'll scrape together every penny we have, even if we have to sell everything." I looked at that stack of money, feeling a heavy weight in my heart. "Take it." Aunt Lily shoved the money into my hand without giving me a chance to refuse. "Luna, sue her however you need to. Let her learn a lesson and suffer the consequences. Otherwise, who knows what bigger mistakes she might make in the future. Right now, all she cares about is that John. She won't even listen to her own parents." My heart tightened, and I pushed the money back. "Aunt Lily, Julia is an adult. She opened the hot pot restaurant with John, and the debt is theirs together. there's no reason for you and your husband to repay it on their behalf. Please take this money back, I won't accept it. After several rounds of polite refusal, Aunt Lily's eyes finally reddened. She nodded heavily, said nothing more, and turned to leave, her back hunched. That retreating figure was filled with a mother's helplessness and heartache. After seeing Aunt Lily off, my mood was complicated, but my determination to fight back grew even stronger. Even a decent elder like her has been pushed to this point. John and Julia are truly beyond saving. A few days later, the lawyer's letter was precisely delivered to Julia Street Stall Hotpot. John called me. What the hell evidence do you have to prove that we posted the video? A self-confession without being pressed, I said. Open your dog eyes wide and see. I'm suing you for not paying back your debt. On the other hand, I wasn't idle either. Since they claimed my braised food had issues, I was determined to make it transparent all the way. I ordered a batch of small tasting cups. Cut the newly launched honey braised and green pepper spicy braised into small pieces and offered them for free to passers-by. At the same time, I sent the braised dishes to the relevant departments for quality inspection. After obtaining the certification, I personally recorded a video response and spent money on local push notifications. Real gold fears no fire. Word of mouth began to return in the most original and powerful way. The video creator who slandered me also contacted me, begging me to drop the lawsuit, saying they were just paid to do the job. I asked him who he was, and he gave me a phone number. As I expected, it was John's. It's just a pity that once the wrench of the law starts turning, it's like sparks flying with lightning. After my lawyer submitted the complete chain of evidence, the platform quickly removed the defamatory video. Meanwhile, the court summons were also delivered to John and Julia as scheduled. Faced with irrefutable evidence, they backed down and opted for an out-of-court settlement. The self-media account that posted the video was required to pin a week-long apology statement on its homepage and compensate me for reputational damages and litigation costs, totaling 30,000 yuan. The judge gave Julia and the others a deadline, but they clearly intend to drag it out to the very end. Not only did he not repay the money, but one night, during the peak hours of the night market, John even rushed to my stall reeking of alcohol. He pointed at my nose and cursed me, calling me ruthless and heartless. Julia followed behind him, not saying a word. I immediately pressed the speed dial on my phone, which I had set up earlier, and simply said to the person on the other end, "There's trouble here. Same place as before. Yes, I'm not stupid. Although my parents aren't in our hometown, I have plenty of relatives and friends there, who can't find a few people to back them up." So when my 190 centimeters tall cousin and 183 centimeters tall younger cousin rushed over, John was half sobered by the shock, and after uttering a few harsh words with a fierce but hollow tone, he pulled Julia along and scurried away in disgrace. After this incident, I realized that reasoning with them or waiting for legal procedures was too slow. They were like sticky candy. It would take some unconventional methods to shake them off completely, since they refused to repay the money. Then they should be treated accordingly. So the next day, in front of the Julia Street Stall Hotpot stall, there appeared 4 spirited elderly men and women, with an average age of over 65. They brought their own small stools and thermos cups, each holding a portable loudspeaker that played a pre-recorded message on loop. Julia Hotpot, debt dodgers, boss John, no integrity, eating depends on honesty. Honesty depends on the boss. A boss who's a deadbeat will leave you with heartache. Oh, Sister Lee's braised delicacies, 100,000 yuan in goods payment, with proof and evidence. Shame on you for defaulting. The voice is loud, the rhythm steady, and the penetration power is extremely strong. These 4 are the senior promoters I carefully selected through a domestic service company, with daily wages and clear tasks. Sit in peacefully, voice legally, no blocking doors, no staging accidents, just stating the facts. The effect was immediate, of course. There were still a few tables of customers left, but they were made restless by the ear-piercing integrity announcements. After just a few bites, they all paid their bills and left. John was so angry that he stomped his feet, coming out to chase people away and curse. The elderly couple, seasoned in experience, lamented to the onlookers, "That young man owes us money, refuses to pay, and even dares to be rude to us old folks. We just came to reason things out, and he wants to start a fight." This led many to criticize John. Julia hid in the shop, initially managing to feign composure, but for 3 consecutive days, the stall was deserted, with only 4 elderly men and women showing up punctually without fail. The surrounding stall owners and regular customers looked at them with contempt in their eyes. on the afternoon of the fourth day, Julia finally couldn't take it anymore. She rushed to my stall alone and transferred 100,000 yuan right in front of me. 100,000, take it. Lucy, from now on, we are through. The biggest regret of my life, Julia, is ever knowing a cold-blooded, heartless thing like you. I look at her face, twisted with anger and collapse, and suddenly find it utterly ridiculous. Who is truly cold-blooded, who is truly heartless? Unfortunately, I have nothing left to say to her. I looked up. I've received the money, the debt is settled. As for cutting ties, Julia, there's been no friendship between us to sever for a long time. Take care. And I won't see you out. My words left her face ashen and her chest heaving, but in the end, she said nothing. The stone that had been weighing on my heart for so long finally fell away, yet it didn't bring the relief I had imagined. The farce had come to an end, leaving only calm in its wake. I poured more energy into my braised food stall, and life seemed to return to its initial tranquility. The newly introduced honey braised and green peppercorn spicy braised dishes gradually gained traction in the market, especially the honey braised variety, whose unique blend of sweet and savory flavors was particularly popular among young people, but there was also a regular customer who came every few days, always buying the same few classic flavors. This gentleman, around his 50s, dressed simply, but his speech and demeanor carried a calm, cultured air. After we got to know each other, he would occasionally chat with me for a bit. One day, as I was closing up, he sighed and said, "Lucy, your family's braised dishes are truly authentic, just like they were decades ago. To be honest, I was a regular customer back when your grandfather set up his stall in the south of the city. At that time, I was just a young boy with little pocket money. And I would crave that taste for half a month. I never thought that after all these years, I could still find that same flavor here with you." I looked at him in surprise. "You knew my grandfather, more than just knew," the uncle laughed. "My surname is James, and I work at the Cultural and Tourism Bureau. Back in your grandfather's day, Knife's braised dishes were quite famous in the southern part of the city. Later, your father." "Ah, what a shame. I never expected you, this young lady, to revive the brand, and the taste, truly surpassing the master." Meeting an old customer from my grandfather's era, I felt inexplicably excited. I was busy and gave him some extra vegetarian platter. Uncle James asked thoughtfully, "I've always had a question. The dishes at your place have an exceptionally rich aroma and a well-defined depth of flavor. What's the secret?" I smiled and asked him. "It's related to a local specialty here. Can you guess what it is?" He wondered. "Could it be vanilla?" My heart stirred. I hadn't expected Uncle James to be so discerning. Fragrant grass is a specialty herb from our area, with a unique and gentle aroma. Most importantly, this grass is extremely rare in yield, making it quite expensive. It indeed holds a place in my family's secret recipe for braised dishes. It can make the foundation of the braised flavor more substantial. However, its deliciousness isn't solely because of it. The heat, timing, and the proportions of other spices are all indispensable. Uncle James's eyes lit up. "Lucy, in our county these past few years, we've been vigorously exploring local culture and developing tourism. Fragrant grass was listed as an intangible cultural heritage many years ago. Have you ever thought about using this as a reason to develop a special braised dish that highlights the concept of intangible cultural heritage?" Fragrant grass, this is both inheritance and innovation. And it's a great selling point. I was suddenly enlightened. I used to only think about preserving my grandfather's formula, but I never considered how to breathe new life into it. Uncle James's words were like a beam of light, cutting through the fog before my eyes. Exactly, combining traditional craftsmanship with intangible cultural heritage. This approach suddenly opens up so many possibilities. That's a brilliant idea, I said excitedly. I'll start researching as soon as I get back and try to develop the Intangible Cultural Heritage Herbal Braised series as soon as possible. Uncle James was also very pleased. "Great, it's wonderful that you have this intention. As for the Lee's Braised Delicacies brand, it truly has a long history. If you're interested, I can help you look into the process and requirements for applying for recognition as a century-old shop or a time-honored brand, if you can secure that title. It would be a great thing for both you and the promotion of our local food culture. Let's get started." After seeing Uncle James off, I immediately went home, dug out the notes my grandfather left behind, and began to wholeheartedly develop the Herbal Braised Delicacies series. I adjusted the proportions of the herbs to make their aroma more prominent without overpowering the dish, while preserving the essence of traditional braised flavors. On the other hand, under Uncle James's guidance, I began to organize the historical materials of Lee's Braised Delicacies. searching for old photos and artifacts, and contacting surviving old neighbors to provide oral testimonies. The process of applying for the time-honored brand designation was tedious and rigorous, but with each step completed, I felt I was getting closer to my grandfather and the roots of our Lee family. The turning points in life often arrive quietly in the most unexpected conversations. The twists and turns of life can sometimes feel like a roller coaster ride. When you have weathered the lowest valley, what lies ahead is likely a landscape of continuous ascent. Everything has become surprisingly smooth. My meticulously developed, intangible cultural heritage herbal braised delicacies series has been warmly received since its launch. That unique, rich aroma with a hint of the wild seems to evoke nostalgic memories of the countryside deep within people's hearts. At the same time, I also changed the signboard to Knife Braised Delicacies, continuing to carry on my grandfather's legacy. The application for the time-honored brand also smoothly passed the layers of review, thanks to the detailed historical records. When that heavy, antique-style plaque was delivered into my hands, I couldn't help but feel my eyes welling up. My grandfather's signboard not only did not fall but has become even brighter. Moreover, to develop distinctive cultural tourism, the county has specially planned a retro-style cultural street aimed at supporting local intangible cultural heritage and time-honored brands. Knife Braised Delicacies was also introduced. Not only did they secure a prime location for their shop, but they also enjoyed the preferential policy of 1 year rent-free. The shop is bright and clean, with a standardized kitchen, and the various braised delicacies are glossy, rich in color, and exude an enticing aroma. I also timely introduced vacuum-packed products in small portions that are easy for tourists to carry. Not only are they loved by locals, but they have also become a must-buy souvenir for visiting tourists. Even the regulars from the old snack street have followed the scent to find their way here. Sis, congratulations, you've really upgraded from a slingshot to a cannon now. I always said Sister Lee's braised dishes would become a hit. This vanilla braised flavor is absolutely amazing. I was overjoyed to see so many loyal customers. I immediately launched a store-wide 50% off promotion. Oh no, the braised dishes were all snatched up in just over an hour. Sigh, I didn't make enough. As for Julia and John, I heard their hot pot restaurant closed down for good not long after. John filtered and recycled the hot pot broth to save costs. A young man who went to an internet cafe to play games late at night saw it, recorded a video, and posted it online. They became famous overnight. This outrageous move also affected several other street-side hot pot stalls. One night, John was beaten black and blue after being thrown into a sack. After the hot pot restaurant closed, he and Julia had a huge fight over it. Julia even discovered that John had 2 other girlfriends behind her back. Hiss, having a foot in 3 boats, so Julia had someone beat him up again, and then she went to another city. Hearing this news, my heart was already calm. Some people, some things, once they're gone, they're gone. They chose their own path and bore the corresponding consequences. I am also on my own path, carving out a broader world. I only know that I will continue to guard everything of the Lee family. With this pot of steaming braised aroma, braise a more passionate life. Extra, Julia's perspective. Lucy and I were once truly childhood friends, best girlfriends. When I was little, my parents couldn't be said to not love me, but they didn't love me that much either. My younger brother was small, so he got to pick the good food and fun things first. Only when I go to Lucy's house do I feel like I'm a treasure too. Her mother would braid my hair into the same little pigtails as hers and share the same cookies with me. We've licked the same lollipop and whispered secrets under the covers. She was the brightest splash of color in my dusty childhood. In the 3rd year of junior high, when a boy bullied her, I was the first to rush forward, pointing at his nose and scolding him. Even though I was a head shorter, I wasn't afraid. Back then, I felt that protecting her was the most natural thing in the world. But as people grow up, their thoughts change. She got into a top university and moved to a big city. I attended a vocational college, stayed in a small county town, and worked a job that was neither exciting nor dull. Her social media posts are filled with things I don't understand and scenery I've never seen. I'm genuinely happy for her, truly, but that indescribable sense of sourness, like mold spots in the rainy season, quietly spreads in my heart. Why is her life so smooth? Why can she get whatever she wants? Even when she came back from the big city and casually set up a stall, she made money so much easier than I did. The day I lost my job, I felt like the sky had fallen. Pooling money with John to open a hot pot restaurant was my last chance. I went to ask her for goods on credit, and looking into her clear, slightly pitying eyes, my heart felt as if pricked by a needle. I had returned to a position where I needed her support. The restaurant's business truly took off thanks to her braised dishes. I should be grateful to her, and I truly was. But as I watched the guests praise how addictive her marinated hot pot ingredients were, and listened to John occasionally mutter, "If only we had her recipe," that bit of gratitude in my heart slowly soured. John said, "She's guarding against you. If she really considered you one of her own, she would have helped you out long ago." Those words, like a venomous snake, slithered into the darkest corner of my heart. Yeah, Lucy keeps saying we're best friends. So why is she still stubbornly holding on to that formula and refusing to help me when I'm struggling so much? Why? When I needed money the most, couldn't she just give me an extension like she used to share her candy with me when we were kids, instead of pushing me for cash? She's always so righteous, so principled, making me look like a petty, ungrateful person. Do you know how annoying your righteous attitude can be sometimes? So, when John took out that stack of hot pot coupons, I acquiesced. When he went to report her, I didn't stop him either, even when she was fined and her stall was shut down. Besides feeling panicked, there was a hint of satisfaction in my heart that even I was afraid of. See, Lucy, you can't always stand high above and look down on me, you can be disgraced too, but I never expected the consequences to be so severe. John shifted all the blame onto me. She said, "There's no friendship between us to sever." Later, I sold everything in the shop and moved to the south. I heard the news about Lucy from my parents' hesitant phone calls. Knife Braised Delicacies has become a time-honored brand, opening new stores with booming business. I've also come across it once or twice on short video platforms. Lucy looked radiant and spoke confidently, and she wasn't the only one busy in the shop. Whenever this happens, I quickly swipe away. The winner is king, the loser a bandit. There's nothing more to say. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.